When you're subtracting 3/4 minus 1/3, the first thing you need to do is make sure that your fractions have a common denominator, just like when you're adding fractions. So to find my common denominator, I'm going to start by skip counting by 4 and 3 so that I can see what size pieces I can make these fractions into. So I know right away that I can make them into 12ths. So looking at my visual here, I have 3/4. This whole thing represents one whole. It's broken into 4 equal pieces, and 3 of those pieces are colored in. I need to make this into 12 equal pieces. So to make this fourths into 12ths, I skip counted by 1, 2, 3, which means that I need to break this now into 1, 2, 3. Now I have a total of 12 pieces. So that means my new fraction is 9 colored in out of 12. My next step is to take away 1/3. Now 1/3 I need to change to 12ths. So to get to 12, I skip counted by 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go times 4 times 4. So I know that 1/3 is equivalent to 4/12. So on my visual, since I'm subtracting, I'm taking away 4/12. So I'm going to cross out 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I don't cross out these because they're not colored in. I don't have these to cross out. So my final answer is how many are still colored in? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of how many total in my one whole, which is 12. So my final answer is 5/12. When solving 5/6 minus 1/3, I'm going to start by stacking my fractions so that it's easier to work with. Then I'm going to have to make my denominators the same, so I'm going to skip count by 6 and by 3 until I find something they both have in common. And here they both have 6 in common. So I don't really need to do anything to the 5/6. I'm keeping it the same. But my 1/3, I need to break my pieces up to make them into smaller pieces, and now I have 2 6. Now when I subtract, I just take my numerators, 5 minus 2, which is 3, and my denominator stays the same, so it's 3 6. In this story problem, Robin used 1/4 of a pound of butter to make a cake. Before she started, she had 7/8 of a pound of butter. How much butter does Robin have when she was done baking? So I know that she used 1/4 of a pound, and before she started, she had 7/8. And since she's using butter, that's my hint that it's subtraction. Now, a lot of people want to start by saying 1/4 minus 7/8, but she didn't start with 1/4, she started with 7/8. So what you actually need to do, even though 1/4 comes first in the problem, it's 7/8 minus 1/4. So I'm going to start by stacking my numbers and then skip counting by my denominators to find what they both have in common. And then I just subtract my numerators. 7 minus 2 is 5/8. So how much butter did Robin have when she was done baking? 5/8 of a pound of butter. And you want to make sure that you really label your answers clearly. Katrina needs 3/5 kilograms of flour for a recipe. Her mother has 3/7 kilograms of flour in her pantry. Is this enough flour for the recipe? If not, how much more will she need? So it's hard to compare fractions when they have different denominators. So when you need to compare fractions, it's always easier if you can take your denominators and make them the same. So just like when you add or subtract fractions, you use the same strategy. I'm going to skip count by my denominators. To see that they could both be made into 35ths. And then I'm going to change them to make my new fractions. So 3/5 is now going to be changed into 21/35, and 3/7 is now going to be changed into 15/35. That means that she needs 21/35 for her recipe, and she has 15/35. So for the first part of the question, is this enough flour for the recipe? No, it is not enough flour. The second part of the question asks, if not, how much more will she need? Well, so that means I need to figure out, if we only have 15/35, how far away are we from 21/35? And I can do this by subtracting to find the difference between these two numbers, which is easy now that I've made their denominators the same. So I'm going to do 21/35 minus 15/35. And I get a final answer of 6/35 kilogram of flour needed.